Welcome to another edition of the Hot Seat Interview. I am your host, film critic Leo Brady with AMovieGuy.com. I am incredibly excited to be here today with two actors, one who is an absolute rising star and the other who is one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, if I say so myself. We're here to talk about their awesome new film, Good Girl Jane. This is actor Rain Spencer and the legendary Andie MacDowell. Thank you for being with me here.
What an introduction. Oh my God. Can I have a recording of that, please?
Yeah, we'll send it to you. I mean, I'm a huge fan of yours. It's actually easy to say. My wedding was on Groundhog Day. I have visited the Groundhog Day location in Illinois multiple times. So this is a big moment.
Thanks. That's so generous. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So the first question that I typically start with is a question that both of you can answer, which is, what movie comes to mind that you saw that made you guys say, I want to be an actor?
Rain?
I mean, I know I had a less traditional kind of approach or way of falling in love with this work. I did a play when I was 5, and I left that theater and was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then got into I studied I was trained in theater and like read all the plays, not all of the plays, but the kind of classic ones, and got into on-camera acting classes and just worked really hard until I finally got something.
Yeah. What about you?
Mine's not dissimilar. I'm from a really small town, and it has a college there. That's where my mother went to college. And she took me to a play when I was about 9 years old. And I realized that grown-ups were playing make-believe. And I was like, oh my God, you can do this when you're an adult? And then I started putting everything together, watching the television. I started putting it together that this was something I could do and that I would enjoy doing. And I was very highly creative, and I was always putting on little productions, and I didn't have at the beginning a lot of formal training. I did take acting lessons when I was in college, and then I left for New York and just, kept going, kept trying to make it happen, and it happened as a miracle.
Yeah.
And I still, to this day, I will go on set and say in front of everybody, with the crew there too, because I always include them, they pay us, That's what I say to everyone.
Right.
I said, they pay us, and this is what we do. Look at us. Look at what we're doing. It's insane. It's crazy. I said, and all you weirdos too. Look at you. We're just a bunch of weirdos, and this is what we do. Well, can you believe it? It still blows my mind.
Well, you're my kind of weirdos. I mean, well, it's an interesting, that kind of can lead me to my next question for Rain too, though. So this is somewhat your breakout performance. You've been in a few other things, but it's also a daunting task. You are on camera for every scene. You are the lead. It is a complex character. Tell me, did you have a lot of like fears getting prepared for the role, or was it kind of jumping head first because that's the way to be fearless and do it?
I feel like it's a kind of a common theme in my life where it's like you jump in the pool to learn how to swim. Yeah. I think I was set up for it in that way where I feel like it's kind of a pattern in some ways. And I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do I swim? Yeah. But this was and still is the only audition and script that I've read where I'm like, if I don't do this, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know why I'm here. Like, I truly felt so strongly about this script. I mean, I remember so this was kind of crazy. I auditioned on tape,
Yeah.
and then and knew for some reason like it wasn't going to happen. It was like, it's not going to happen. And again, I've done so many auditions, and it kind of just rolls off my back, like whatever. But this one wasn't that. And so I knew I didn't get it. And 6 months later, and this has never happened again, but 6 months later, I got an email from my reps saying like it had never happened for an audition for Good Girl Jane, and it was in person, and it was the next day, and I was working at a jewelry store, and I just remember being like, okay, I remember all of these words, like, let's go, I'm in, I'm 100% in. And I remember feeling like, yeah, although I wanted it so badly, and again, and I'm never like that, but I wanted this one so badly. I also had this attitude of, I'm grateful and I'm releasing it. Yeah. Like, I'm just grateful to be at this audition, or like, I'm just grateful to be at the callback. I'm just grateful to be, exactly where I am right now. And so, and yeah, in that way, I don't remember what the question is now.
But you pretty much answered it in that way. You took on the role and crushed it. Well, and for Andie, for you too, the movie that I was kind of thinking about while watching this, and I'm always really impressed when an actor such as you does this. But the movie I was thinking about was Sex, Lies, and Videotape, because like that, for that time period, 1989, that film was kind of revolutionary. It was very much an independent film, very much in the same vibe at the way Good Girl Jane is made. Is that sort of something that you always like to keep fresh for you, to like have that independent spirit and get back into an independent film like this?
Well, when she was answering that, it made me think, it was so funny because it was like, this is deja vu the way she answered it, because I felt the same way about Sex, Lies, and Videotape. I felt, and I had been auditioning a lot. I knew that I could crush that role. I knew. I was like, if I could just get this, that was my basic feeling. So right. I knew, and that did it. It did change my life. And I am a huge fan of independent films. I wish that we could bring back the idea of going to art films, and that would become the coolest thing in the world again, because they're the best. They really are. And film is an art form. It truly is an art form. Yeah. It's a beautiful modern art form. And I think it only really works when you don't have money. I know that sounds crazy, but I heard somebody else that was really impressive the other day say something like that. You know who it was? It was Meryl Streep. I was listening because I watch on Instagram, I watch all these things about acting. Yeah. And I think it was on, I forget which little thing, but she was talking about having to work, the pressure of having to work on something without time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is something beautiful that happens when because you don't have money. You can't. Right. You don't have that. There's something about a lower budget that really, you pull it all together. You don't have a choice. You get it done. You don't waste time.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I want to talk about rain. Can I talk about rain?
You can, yeah, of course.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you what it was like, because I've been doing this for a little while. Yeah. I wish that Sarah was here, because she can explain how she shot it so much better than I can. But right. As you notice, there's no close-ups, right?
Right.
That was terrifying for me, because I was like, okay. And then on top of it, I'm working with this young girl that she's so open that I didn't have to act. There was no time to act. I couldn't act, whatever that is. That wasn't there. Whatever. There was no craft. It was all real. It was just doing it, because the floodgates were open always with her. It was raw beyond raw. I've never experienced anything like it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
She was so vulnerable and so open, and it was an out-of-body experience for me. I mean, I knew who the character was, so I had that to rely on, but I was just being with her. everything that happened was just being with her. A lot of it, we're just making it up as we're going along. We're just in the scene.
Right.
But she's just remarkable. And I can't wait to see what she does after this, because she does have that gift. It's a beautiful gift to be able to be that open,
Yeah.
to be that free
Yeah.
and available. It was fun. It was terrifying working with her,
Yeah.
but also fabulous.
Yeah, that's something. Well, I mean, that's something that's so genuine about this film. This film is very lived in, very real. I mean, it is, the films that came to mind for me are films like Soderbergh and films like um Sean Baker's films that have been coming
Oh,
out.
I love him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, so there's really a great authenticity to it. But even for you, Rain, I mean, the coolest thing had to be, at the Tribeca Film Festival, you're winning the award for breakout performance, almost for best performance of the festival. I mean, obviously that's not what anybody's expecting going in. Is that sort of for you, for all the work that you've done, for everything that you put into this film, is that sort of the validation that makes you say to yourself, okay, I gave it my all and I know I've done my best?
I mean, I was not expecting that whatsoever. I was actually on the plane home when when you're starting to land and you get service, and my phone started blowing up and I just started sobbing on the plane.
Right.
And I couldn't call anyone. Like, I was forced to just be alone in that moment, and like, like I couldn't yeah, I had to just sit, or I got to just sit alone and feel that. But no, it's absolutely not what I was expecting, and I still kind of can't believe that. I also can't believe that I worked with Andie MacDowell. Like, I'm just sort of in this dream like state, it feels. I mean, that whole thing felt like a dream. Working with Sarah felt like a dream. Patty, I mean, it's truly one of the greatest experiences of my life so far.
Yeah.
Every single part of it, every single moment of it felt like that.
Yeah. Well, and two, even for you, Andy, working with Rain, I mean, obviously people are asking you a lot of questions about your own daughter. She has been in a movie this year that is by far one of my favorite movies, maybe of the last 20 years.
Wow.
But being, the mother of Margaret Qualley and like being in that role, is that something that just came natural for you and easy because you're just like, I know how to play this because I worry about my own kids? Or is it more of a just like, as you were saying, is it more of just a play in the sandbox and figure out how to react against this and
No, I knew who this character was. I
yeah,
knew who she was. So I had that in me.
yeah,
But it was what I experienced when working with Rain is not normal. Because this she hasn't done anything. She was so wide open. It was unique. It really was. So
right,
it was terrifying at moments, but my character's terrified. You see,
right, right,
my character's terrified of her daughter.
yeah,
So it was all believable. It was really believable. Everything that happened was believable. But yes, I'm a mother, so I know what it is to feel like you failed your kids. And I know what it is to not want to see what's really happening. It's not the same story,
right,
but I think every parent experiences to some degree, maybe not, hopefully not as far as what happens in this story. And I never, it's not like we were exploring my character. There was so
yeah,
much to explore, but the beauty of the script and what drew me originally to the project was the script.
yeah,
Sarah wrote a beautiful script. I've read a lot of scripts. It was a beautiful script.
yeah,
And I felt I was what's interesting, and they did it. They pulled it off, is that you fall in love too.
all right, right,
It's isn't that terrifying?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you can understand why she fell in love.
yeah.
You get it 100%. It's like I would have too.
It is that authenticity. It feels like you can notice the connections and notice that it's pretty easy to go down a path that any person goes down, right?
Yes, you can. It's a drug because
Yeah,
falling in love is a drug.
yeah,
And when you're lonely, and when you're so desperately lonely, and you need, which we all do, no matter how old we are, it can happen at other ages as well, but very vulnerable at her age.
Yeah.
And with everything that was going on with her, that's what I loved about it. But to see her bring it to life, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So here's this woman who wrote this script, executed this script, which touches you at a core where you are falling in love, where you are going on this journey with her and feeling all these feelings. And then she brought it to life, and she brought it to life with no money.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any close-ups, which, believe me, I wanted.
Right.
You know what I could be saying? I could be saying right now, if you would give me a close-up. But what about my character? But no. I loved how she shot like all your stuff, your intimate stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was beautifully shot. And I was so thankful too, because I had gone on that journey reading the script.
Yeah.
I felt all those feelings.
Yeah.
And then Rain they brought it to life. Patrick, they brought it to life. They did just such a beautiful job. And I loved the way she shot it. The way she shot it is so intimate.
Yes. So lived in. It's spectacular. All right. They're telling me to wrap up, but before I go, Andie, I do have to ask you a question. Is a sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist your favorite drink?
I think I've never had one. But I do drink to world peace.
You do drink to world peace. Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
For sure.
All right. Well, Andie MacDowell, thank you so much. Rain Spencer, thank you again. Congratulations.
You're a sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jane is available on demand now. We're telling everybody to watch it and see it. This movie is fantastic. Congratulations. And can't wait to see you guys again.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye, honey.
Bye-bye.
Bye, love.